more engage for Kwangdong Freaks. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, can take the other guy, right? Between Akali and Sylas, those two somewhat similar in what they do. You have a decent amount of ultimates that you can steal away.
You have a lot of power with this Sylas pick if you steal the Sejuani ultimate, and you can obviously gain some power from the Renekton ultimate too if you steal that one away and then go into the team fight with a lot of survivability. And the follow-up range damage from the Varus, from the Caitlyn, Wukong there for you too. But it's not the greatest Sylas game of all time or anything like that. You have some good ults you could steal, some somewhat mediocre ones. Like Victor's ult going to be great for the lane and clearing that wave and surviving and trying to get your Rod of Ages as soon as possible, but not going to feel ideal. But still, I mean, there is a lot of power in this pick, and it gives you a lot more stability and ability to actually constantly frontline and be a threat the entire time, whereas what we saw last time with the Akali, there was some flank engages. Sometimes he pushed Youngjae away and then was able to win objective fights that way, but just was too fragile, actually, into the Victor in so many of those fights. The Sylas has a lot more survivability and can stay longer as a frontline champion for the Varus Caitlyn.
Our mid is not a Chihuahua. He's a Bulldog. It's true. That's what he's named.
Yeah, but his name comes from the Maple story. He's fire poison.
Fire poison.
Yeah. You know this story, right?
Fire poison?
Yeah. Blur, Doke.
Oh.
I think that's an enemy, and it looks like a bulldog, but it's like a fire poison enemy. I don't know, Chronicler told me the story once. But yeah, he's no Chihuahua, that's for sure.
Okay. Mind blown. Anyway, here our composition should be pretty interesting. Kind of like in DRX's. We'll see how it will go, though, this time around, as we're ready to jump onto the Rift for game number 2.
미니언 생성까지 30초
Off we go.
남았습니다.
Match 20, the end of week 2 already.
Yeah. Really feels like it's flown by in a lot of ways.
Uh-oh. Nah, Tane's aware of this.
Would have been a disaster if he challenged that. We'll be a back here for Ducktom. Beryl needs to play respectfully until then. As if he finds himself 1v2 here, it'd be a disaster. Taeyun and Moham obviously unaware of this. I like how Fate is kind of carefully up here, making sure there's no sort of dive or invade or early attempt to punish Beryl, so he has a lot of support here for the moment. And Sylas isn't going to be going toe-to-toe with Victor at level 1 here anyway, so doesn't really lose anything. We'll just let that one push into his turret. First strike Victor, Dematerializer, the standard.
First strike Sylas.
Oh, sorry, I don't know why I said... I'm saying all the wrong things. The series killed me.
You're pulling a Chronicler.
I am. I'm sorry, everybody. But yes, first strike, Sylas with Dematerializer, rushing Rod of Ages under turret. That is the way to go.
Yes, and there was the barrier already. Beryl struggling at level 1, as you do.
Not going to pop the heal to trade anything further back. Mom still holds his. Got to be so careful about how you play these lanes out because you want to maximize your value. Here you hit level 2 first, ideally.
They hit it at the same time. You can see they're both like kind of stutter stepping there for a sec.
That was a bit of a big jump there to the mid lane.
Yeah, jump scare.
Yeah, jump scared me out of my chair for a second. As if you end up getting a lead here as either of these 2v2 lanes, you're in paradise.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of.
Yeah, he's going to flash this wall. And they see it. Finally, the heal does come through. And it will get the flash out of Ducktom plus the heal. So trading flashes with the bottom lane for a follow-up, definitely a good idea.
Yep, he won't lose too much for this. Going to lose his early blue buff here as a result, because Krakow knows.
Where are we going?
It's like he's gonna just realize, okay, he's taking my blue. I will do the same to him. It's actually a wise call by Young Jae. Make sure he doesn't fall too far behind for that play. And yeah, everything kind of quiets down for a moment after that.
We looked at top lane there for a second, not sure why.
Yeah, me neither. That was not.
Jonas Strong's like, yep, they're still there. Okay.
Check back later.
Yeah. Yeah, Renekton can maybe do some things. Press some buttons, perhaps.
Flash for the Renekton versus Ghost for the Cassante, very standard. Good laning here from Fate, by the way. We haven't really checked in on that, but just handling the pressure well, only using one dematerializer, trading the mana bar of Bulldog for some of his health. Trying to put the pressure on. Another dematerializer dropped. And he's going to want to rush Rod of Ages as soon as possible because it makes him that big front line we've talked about a lot. Very tanky and obnoxious. Krako gets the news, the bad news, that buffs were traded.
Fate's got a little prio. He's coming on over, trying to spot if Young Jae's doing this, and he is. Just walking around a little bit, using the extra time. As Renekton is, in fact, pressing his buttons.
Yes, he's still up there. And Rascal's having a rougher time of it, as this matchup sometimes goes. And this game in this series has kind of kept me on the edge of my seat. Like, I'm kind of holding my breath at every moment because you just never know if someone is going to get punished. Because, as was mentioned by the Space earlier, it became a game of who makes the fewest mistakes, and every time a mistake was made, the snap punish was there. So every time you see a roaming champion, or every time you see a jungler, it gets a little bit closer. Every time the observers toggle vision, you're like,
yeah,
what's going on? Somebody's going to die. And so far, everyone alive.
Yeah. Bottom lane's been going well for Kwangdong Freaks, actually, as Fade is not letting the tower hit anything, and he's going to keep the wave in a fantastic spot. Going to be very annoying for Bulldog, especially because he doesn't have teleport, which means that he might miss out on some XP that gets frozen away in gold. It's going to be interesting, though, as this game does come along. I think that Kwangdong Freaks might be really relying on Bulldog to do a large majority of the damage in this game.
More utility-based Ashe, obviously, in this style of composition. Can do a lot of damage early in the lane, but it is going to be in the late game. Okay,
oh boy, here we go. Level 6 underneath the turret. Dudu takes one, has to flash away. The Ghost, though, is procced, and you're not really getting away from this Cassante easily. He does not have a slice. He does not have a dice. And instead, Rascal will have a nice dinner.
A little bit of a head tilter there from Dudu on the player cam, and he's really frustrated with this, but this is the Cassante under turret. You have to respect level 6 charge ult every single time. I've seen this so many times. It's a new champion, so we can have some forgiveness here. And you want to be playing the Renekton aggressively in the early game. That is how Renekton functions. That's why you drafted it, but a little bit too close to the sun, the turret-shaped sun in this case, and he's pushed down, takes a ton of damage, and is chased by the Ghost. Rascal plays it perfectly. First blood to the Cassante. A lot of pressure now relieved. Flash down for Dudu, which means that he's not going to have a lot of power for a long time in this lane. And bottom side here.
Uh-oh. Bulldog caught. Looks like a stun will go out onto Fate, as we will have double Victor ultimate on top of each other. A little Venn diagram there for a sec. And the dragon will be denied. Looks like Kwangdong not able to start that one up.
Yeah, in the middle of the Venn diagram is like AP damage, Victor ult. Great personality for both of these players. And, you know, as a result, the Drake take is not going to happen. It is delayed for a moment here. And here comes the Wukong. No 6 just yet.
Yeah. This lane has been really rough for Duck Dom and Barrel. Krako has not been able to affect it. He essentially did vertical jungling by going into the enemy's blue buff, but like, that's not the meta. As the arrow comes out, Duck Dom takes a massive amount of damage, and the lane lead for the Kwangdong Freaks bottom lane is really shaping up here.
Yeah, the early Dirk here for Taeyun is doing serious work in terms of the damage he can put off here with his Halo Blades. And he's done so much with it. As soon as he comes back, is trying to trade aggressively, get any damage done as he can, you know, slow and be oppressive. And Duck Dom hasn't responded too well here, but he doesn't have great support. Here's to Caitlyn, right? So when you fall behind like this, you're not going to be able to trade back as easily. And those mantra Qs just stack up. So this is the play here. Dudu in range of Rascal. And watch this. Pull him back. Ult him into the turret. This is as elementary as it gets. You just got one step too close. Dudu tries to ult here to buy time, but Ghost is going to catch him. Just really unfortunate.
Yeah. It's part of why you go for Ghost instead of Flash.
Punish play.
Yep. It's just the way that goes. And he's just going to get tankier and tankier. Dudu, you know, obviously able to handle this lane and will be totally fine as Renekton. But how much Renekton is this? How much Renekton is this value going to get? I wonder.
That is a question, right?
Have you ever had so much Renekton?
A lot.
Oh boy, what's going on here? Barrel's gonna flash. Actually, it was a huge bait! Even I got baited. Wow, Fate came in, and Kwangdong was like, wait, what the hell, you're the mid laner.
That was absolutely insane. This is really reminiscent of the game of Bulldog where he played against Faker and Faker just wasn't in the lane, and Bulldog's like, well, I'm gonna kill minions. This was definitely not communicated, or if it was, the warning was not heeded by the bottom lane here of Kwangdong Freaks. Bulldog is pushing turret. He knows Fate is not there.
He's still here.
Well, this could be part 2.
Oh, there's so much stuff happening. Taeyoon might just die here as the shield comes in. Waited for that one to flash in from Duckdom.
And it looked like a disaster, this lane, right? It looked completely unwinnable.
It was.
He's 20 CS down until Fate just walks out of lane. Bulldog took the Ghost. Again, we saw this in that matchup against the set that Faker played last time they played against T1 earlier this week. And the same situation occurs where set up a dive, now you have massive push and plate gold to pick up. It's 2 assists apiece going to Duckdom and Barrel, but 2 kills to the Sylas. He picks up both. And now that pushing power Huni was talking about, the power of this Caitlyn, you could rip through this turret so quickly. It's not so much of an edge that they get this turret for free, essentially, but this just feels like bad communication. You can see Bulldog is checking up on the top side in both of these plays. Where is the Sylas? I can't find him. You can see it. He's trying to ward. He's trying to get vision. But the Sylas reveals himself down here twice on the bottom side of the map. Picks up 2 kills. And Rod of Ages now online pre-11 minutes. One of the fastest ones you can get.
Yeah, he's feeling pretty good about that. This Sylas is going to be ginormous, okay? Like, I don't think anybody's going to be able to handle this Sylas, especially because if you think about the ults he's going to be stealing, like, the Dominus. He's just going to be, like, on top of the Ashe. The Ashe is never going to be able to do anything if they get the engage. And that if is, you know, it's still an if, but they do have a bunch of ways to get in there, including stealing an arrow, as here is the Sejuani ultimate stolen, forces a flash, and Krako wasn't done with the play. Fate was like running away. He's like, nope, Krako's going in. And all of a sudden, DRX are just tearing him apart.
This is starting to be really disastrous here for the side of Kwangdong Freaks, losing a lot of control over the bottom side of the map here. And finally, the first Drake of the game may be taken, as Bulldog wants to turn some of this this pressure on the bottom side of the map into an aggressive trade mid, but can't get any permanent damage. Barrel playing this one so risky, but we'll grab that control ward here. Takes the zombie ward value, and that is going to be the Drake secured finally here. It's an Ocean at 12 minutes.
Yeah, extremely late, and more plates for the Varus. They're trying to get Bulldog fed, understandably. I mean, this guy, okay, Barrel, yeah, he's just dead. This time it wasn't a bait.
Barrel's just misunderstood, Valdez, you know?
He's just too smart for everything.
Yeah, he's just, his team just doesn't get him.
Renekton might be dead. Dominus possibly going to save him here, but Rascal going for the kill under the turret. Not quite going to go for it as Q3 is available. Moham is free flash. Thank you very much, says Krako.
So we could have another Infernal on our hands, but we could also have a Mountain. So 2 very critical ultimates, or souls. It's been a long week, Valdez. Even the
Dragon Ultimate.
Yes, the Dragon Ultimate. The Ultimate Dragon, the big one, is going to be one of those, or the Cloud, which could be pretty massive as Rascal.
No ult for Rascal. He doesn't have an easy way out of this one. Although Youngjae does not have his ult either. The stun comes in, the flash from Dudu, and it is enough to take down the Cassante.
Fortunately, Krako not there for him when he was up that far in the lane. He's on Wolves right now. So he's just kind of left out alone.
Here we go. Barrel's about to run in that turret. Fate's here. He's ready. He's got Nash Arrow. Looks like they're trying to get onto Mohan, but a nice little dash, and the Montague not going to be enough anyway, as Barrel actually does tank that up. And Bulldog is getting a free lane, but if this were solo queue, Kwangdong Freaks' bottom lane would have already left the game.
Yeah, this does feel like solo queue in a lot of ways. Like the mid laner just grabbing plates.
Just leaves.
It's funny how in that Live Sandbox series yesterday, Closer was like, all right, Birdall's having a hard time side lane. I'm going to pick Aurelia. We're going to side lane. We're going to actually win this game. I'm going to carry. Like he's like, okay, I can carry. This game, it feels like Fate's like, all right, our jungler can't put the pressure on down there. Okay, I'll push the Caitlyn lane.
I'll do it.
I will literally abandon my lane and take a 20 CS deficit to save Barrel and Duck Dom. I guess so.
Yeah.
Fine. You guys gave me the Silas pick.
Yeah, and, you know, it was relatively unexpected. I mean, especially through the lane, right? Like, they had their jungle warded up. They're like, okay, well, Fate isn't going to just, you know, give up a bunch of CS and come gank us, and we're kind of safe from our jungle, so we should be fine. We can keep up the pressure. But the lane gank was like, what the hell is going on? It felt like nobody expected that, and it was really the exact medicine that DRX needed.
Yeah, in the way that Fate hit his rotation, I think the first time was clearly Bulldog got confused. He got duped. He was checking, where is he? Did he back? I'm not entirely sure where the Silas is. Didn't communicate quickly enough. Second time was unfortunately just fairly obvious. And this time, you know, Bulldog's like, I'm pushing mid, like this is doomed, you guys are unsavable. I don't have teleport. And this is what happened. If he had teleport, because he's taken the Ghost now twice into these aggressive matchups he wants to get a lead into the melee. If he has teleport, he goes bottom side, he saves the play, he makes Fate look foolish for that rotation. But he doesn't have teleport, he has Ghost, and he's not unsealed because he went maximum greed for lane.
Yeah. And I mean, into an Akali, I think it makes a little bit more sense. Into the Silas, he's relatively sustainable. Like, he can kind of just hang around, Kingslayer minions, he'll just be annoying, you know, he never goes away. It's really hard to get away from the Silas. As that will be the Herald going the way of DRX here. It is only a 1,000 gold lead, but you can still very much feel it, especially when you do look at the mid lane.
Yeah, when you look at where the lead is where you're most worried.
That's going to sail wide. We have Karma ultimate here for Fate.
Atlas is really concerned about the Runeterra space pollution after that one. He's just going to go out into orbit. And
I'm glad that when Atlas is not casting, you say it for him.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure you get that one in.
It needs to be said. We are not about that space junk. I actually think Tatum should apologize. It's okay. He's got some environmental efforts he's doing in his free time to make up for it.
Sure.
That arrow doesn't hit. There's not a play to be made. But going back to the Silas lead here, like this game could be a Majai's game, actually. He's that ahead that once he gets, you know, 2 items online, he could think about, do I want to go Majai's if he gets a bigger lead here? He's already sitting at 7 stacks of this Dark Seal, and he's unkillable. He's a raid boss. And there's an angle here for him to actually dive with this charge of the Herald. There has to be so much respect shown here for Kwangdong Freaks. And he doesn't even have his rod fully stacked yet. He's not even fully online. He hasn't reached his full potential yet, Valdez.
Still 4 minutes, but that's going to be relatively early for a rod, of course. As we talked about before, they're trying to zone them away off of this one. Dudu has walked down. Teleport available for Rascal. If he does want to join this fight, is Krako going head-to-head with Young Jay. The tankiness being very annoying for him. Krako just going to be 100-0'd. And so now we have Rascal teleporting into this one, but is straight on top of 5 members of Kwangdong, and he can't get away from the Ashe. Well, he's trying. Looks like he will eventually.
I think DRX need to let this one go. They don't have any real way to contest.
Yeah. Well, Fate is here. Maybe he could do something. Some low health bars, and Rascal is incredibly tanky.
No way.
There's a double knockup. He's doing so much damage into that bottom side of the Kwangdong Freaks.
Duck Dom is just untouched.
Yeah. Oh man, Fate gonna get flashed away from here.
The
but
heal
that
chase
is going to be enough to get them off of the dragon, and that is what they wanted. And they're still chasing. As there is the change. Once again, Dudu just gonna use his own mobility and get out.
Well, I really thought that fight looked hopeless because you have a Victor on the other side, your health bars are getting low, they have full control over the pit itself, and then Rascal saw an opportunity to go through the backline there, has the double knock-up with his Q set, and he just goes for it. Such a great Cassante player here in the early parts of the champ's life, right? Like, it's very early to have this level of mastery. He played out the top gank the top kill very well, the solo kill he got there under turret. And this fight looks disastrous because Kroko is just 100 to 0'd.
They did
Rascal,
use everything on him.
Yeah. Well, Rascal is here also taking a ton of damage. He's slowed, and they're completely zoned off. And Duckdom at the back is like, I can't do anything. This is definitely lost. I'm out of here. And then Rascal says, wait, hold on. Yeah. Hold the phone. I've got a double opportunity right here. My Q is charged with that second one there. There it is. And then he goes in, pushes him, double knock-up. So much damage. It's insane. And he forces a flash out, barrels on the edge too to try to catch him. And then they even commit a heal for the chase here. They want so much out of this. They want a 4v5 fight after Youngjae.
Yeah.
Or rather, after Kroko was picked.
Yeah, I mean, they used everything. Like, it was the Sedge ult first, then the Ash Arrow came through, Renekton was Dominist on top of him, and Bulldog used his Chaos Storm to burst him down, and Karma's Karma. So that's 5. Every ultimate ability, essentially, was used onto the Wukong. So not able to do much in terms of fight back in the latter half of that fight.
It's a bit early.
It is Infernal, by the way.
Yes. It's crazy. One of the relevant ones. We knew it when we saw the Ocean and the Chem Tank. That's the best individual Drakes. That's how you know it's going to be a good one where we're going to have a lot of action over the Drakes. But it's a bit early on spawn here and also on a ward that they don't know about to try to, with Ghost Blade and 2 Dirks, start a Baron at 20. They're really trying to sell the idea.
Dirk is a really popular item nowadays.
Seeing it a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas now the Eclipse is done. Umbroglaive here for Barrel to try to clear some extra vision. It almost looked like DRX wanted to sell the idea they're doing Baron, but I don't think anyone would believe that. As Rod coming up now in just about 30, 35 seconds here for Faith. Gonna hit level 14.
Yeah.
Guy is huge. Shadow Flame still 7 stacks on this Dark Seal, and
the Shadow Flame is so early.
It's crazy.
I mean, look at Kwangdong's comp. Not a single person as well. I say that, and Aegis is there for the Sejuani, but nobody else has any magic resistance.
Nope.
Not even Merc Treads. Double-plated and 3 cooldown boots. I mean, Fate is going to be actually hitting like a truck. And he's level 14 with this Rod.
Yeah, just finished it about like 20 seconds ago. Now they're going to look for a dive here on the Bulldog.
Uh-oh. Kroko, you're in a little bit of a wonky spot. He just cyclones. He's like, well, I gotta do something, as Youngjae just goes straight into him with 5 members of DRX right there. So he just immediately gets blown up. And again, I mean, I think the damage is just too much. This Barrel is getting pretty close to the sun, trying to set up that trap line.
Look at how quickly they can clear these control wards, though, with his Umbroglaive.
Yeah. The heal used here, as they're actually like trying to push them out of this one, but got to be careful with Fate so close by. The Ghost used by Bulldog.
It's almost like Barrel is actually live bait. He's like walking up and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a support, I'm pretty tanky, I think I've got my barrier, I'm definitely not going to die, right? And then they run at him and he just barely escapes, doesn't use his summoners, and then a lot of damage is traded back. He's really trying to sell it.
I just had this picture, he's like a literal worm on a fish hook. Like, yeah. He's wriggling around in front of them. Like.
He's a worm on an Umbroglaive. He's like just wriggling around the Umbroglaive, clearing wards like, I am a juicy opportunity. There's definitely not a Silas right beside me.
Yeah.
And all
Kwangdong are the fish. They're just ready to get hooked.
Yeah, this is...
as Youngjae did here.
Unfortunately for Youngjae, you know, Kroko seems like a good target here, and they have Moham and Bulldog, but the rest of the team is nearby, and they're ranged. They can hit you over this wall. You're not going to last very long. You're not that tanky. They force a cleanse. And then Barrel, watch him just walk up. Like, it's just, like, he doesn't even care. Dude, he's like...
just wriggling his little warm body.
Dude's like, I want to kill that support Caitlyn that has no armor and no resistances. Can I get it? But they do hold off. They are wise to the tricks.
Yeah, Barrel is He's doing a better job of staying alive this game, at least. That is what we can say. The lane was a disaster until Fate arrived. And yeah, I mean, DRX, it looks like everybody, not just DRX, both teams are really gearing up for this fight. As the teleport looking at Rascal's so tanky, I mean, they're going on to Cassante. That's not the guy. Has so many stuns and stuff used into him. Bulldog finally gets here, but I'm not sure if he's enough damage again. As I said earlier about the strap, like he's alone, and now he's gonna get arrowed and 100 to 0'd. Look at how much damage Fate is doing. This is a total wash, as DRX are just gonna wipe the slate clean, except for Dudu, as he will just awkwardly spin away.
So now there's thinking it's a Majai's game. I'm thinking it's a Majai's game.
It's a Majai's game.
It's a Majai's game.
He has a stopwatch too, like
yeah.
By a Majai's.
I think it's a Majai's game. He's got the full stacks now, 5-0-3.
Should have bought it before that fight.
Let's see if he backs here. He's going to clear this wave in mid, or rather bottom, as they are going to grab this Drake. Croco solo. The target selection is all over the place for Kwangdong Freaks in this game. It has been in every critical fight. And as you mentioned, okay, gonna go on the Cassante here. Look at Dudu, just commit here hard. Pops Dominus, and then Cyclone comes out. Moham is pushed away.
Cyclone.
Ducked on the barrel, killing Taeyun 2v1 as Rascal just locks the door behind the Sejuani. This fight is just super disjointed, and Bulldog is chain CC'd in the middle of things here. Everybody's lost, and this is the experience that DRX has over this roster in terms of the players and how long they've been playing the LCK. You could really feel it more so in this game. After game one, getting a lot of confidence, it seems, and
there it is.
There it is. Majai's. And it's all of its glory, full stacks
Majangles.
of the Death Note, you
That's what I want
pulled
to
it
call
up.
it now. Yeah, he's not Guma, but you know, he's got one of his own.
You know when the Death
More
Note,
than one.
in the Death Note anime, the first one that's dropped is in English, then there's the Japanese Death Note, spoilers. This is the Korean Death Note.
Yeah, I mean, Fate is actually a raid boss.
Bulldog, I'm sorry, man. This
Yeah,
turret's not going to keep you safe.
He's just gonna die. I mean, okay, Youngjae's here, arrow into the face of Croco's clone, as Bulldog is gonna go into the Zhonya's. And he didn't get his Chaos Storm out before that, unfortunately. It doesn't matter, as both of them will go down, looking pretty helpless right now for Kwangdong Freaks. This one, a much cleaner game for DRX after Fate apparently just flipped a switch.
Yeah. It's really funny how, it's really bizarre how Fate wrote the cause of death as, and Sejuani almost saves him, but then he dies after stopwatching.
He wanted to keep it interesting, you know?
He could have just written, I kill him, but he did make it more interesting for us. As now, the health bar is a little bit low for this take, but they have a TP. Greedy to contest here, but you've got no choice as Kwangdong Freaks. Look at the traps.
Barrel zoning them, don't worry. He's got this. Just wriggling around.
Come at me!
Now he's like, you want to focus on me, right? Not the Baron. In goes Dudu, as he will get into the pit and huge Gore Drinker damage. It doesn't matter. As actually Beryl got the kill onto the Renekton, and now you're not getting away from this guy, as Silas is incredibly sticky. And yeah, there's going to be a chase down. Moham is level 9. Fate is level 16.
Bye. So we get in the full Majai's, you know, it was like, all right, it seems like it's a Majai's game. We confirmed Majai's game. Full Majai's game, question mark. That's the only thing we have left. Beryl was just twirling his Caitlyn rifle and saying, have at you.
Yeah.
Looking at the Renekton, doing the finger points at his eyes.
You're
points
looking at a
Renekton.
champ.
You're looking at a champ. CHAMP. Two-timer.
Absolutely.
Beryl, the man. Look at him. He's our most successful Caitlyn support player now.
He's like, oh yeah, true. My team is pushing, but I don't care. I want more kills.
Carry a most.
No.
Okay, another one.
Almost hit the turret.
3.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah. Kara maybe most successful, most consistent support MVP, first support MVP, but does he have 2 Worlds titles? Did he win 2 games of support, Caitlyn? I don't think so. Oh man. This needs no explanation. It was the cool Death Note writing. You made it more interesting. Thank you, Fate, for that. It's pretty fitting that his name is Fate, as he writes their fate into the notebook.
It's nice. I like it.
Beryl is just, he doesn't care. The trap is there, and Dudu has to go up, and Dudu tries to go into the backline here, is just deleted. There's no follow-up. There's no jungler here.
Why are they even going in?
I'm not.
What are they?
I mean, look, this is a broken team right now.
Yeah.
Because the mental was shattered after game 1.
And then there was more, but we didn't think that was suitable for live audiences.
Well, in live more is happening too.
Okay. Duck Dom with a cheeky little stopwatch.
They're mad at Beryl.
I mean, it's working. You know, they're using everything on Beryl as Rascal and Fate are gigantic in this game. They're just pressing their buttons and smacking them with their wallets now, and their massive amount of levels. And that's all they got. Kwangdong Freaks, they gave it one last shot. They're not going to drag this one out. Looks like DRX as well will just put them out of their misery. That's going to be it. An ace comes through as Fate, you know, why not? Couple more kills. Sure, Buffo for those stats. He definitely needs it, as it feels like we finally got good Fate back, which is, I think, great news for DRX.
Yep. 9-0-6, 25 stacks.
10 stacks on Rod of Ages.
Yes, early on the Shadow Flame.
What a stopwatch.
My man.
What else can you say? As you see that Duck Dom's just hitting the Nexus, he's not having any of that. No trolling. DRX, a relatively clean 2-0.
Yeah.
Game 2 definitely a lot better than Game 1.
Relatively
Improvements made.
Relatively clean. The second game absolutely made up for the first, and I mean, Bulldog taking Ghost for the lane really hurts his ability to defend his bot side, and if that was a solo queue game, it might have been reportable, but he wanted to really get that lane control. But what comes with that, and what is the point of lane control against something like a Sylas, is preventing those roams and communicating where the Sylas is, where he could be, because those 2 kills bottom side push as far as Caitlyn online, get the Sylas massively ahead, all that plate gold goes over. The responsibility of that communication, whether Bulldog told him and didn't respond, whatever the case may be, something was missing there. The line was cut between mid and bottom, and Fate just ran away with the game.
I believe now, based on the sign, that DRX will be on Lolly Night.
Yeah.
I believe that's the way it works.
I think so.
So if you can understand Korean, or even if you can't understand Korean, make sure to check that out. And you'll see some DRX members. This guy's wrote like a a sentence for each guy. Krako finally gets to do a nice little celebration ceremony.
There were a lot of risky moments for Krako in this game, but it ultimately didn't matter. I feel like Fate did not get to celebrate enough.
Number 1, says Rascal. To the skies.
I feel like the ceremonies are only cool if they're not forced, though, guys.
Yeah, well.
We'll get there.
I don't know if we'll ever learn that, Wolf.
Hey, have you seen Doran? Have you seen Pyoshik? He's not here
yeah.
anymore.
But I'm just saying we're never going to get away from forced ones. We will also have unforced ones, which will be nice. As Fate, he looks exhausted. I mean,
he did put the team on his back there in that last game.
Oh, geez, yeah.
If Krako can't get the gank stun, I'll be the jungler.
Yeah, I wonder how many. The only question that remains in my mind is how many media votes there will be for Rascal instead. That's all I want to know, because in my mind, like, it's such an obvious Fate vote that for some reason.
I saw Jisung's cursor moving in the prompter, so I know there's probably at least one. He had a really good game too, though. Rascal did, and
he did, yeah. He just, didn't go 9-0 with a fully stacked Madais and single-handedly get the game back in their favor.
His gank's bottom side literally saved the game.
He just typed lol. Oh no.
Well, we'll see.
I'm scared now.
Because he literally saved the game with those 2 plays, and then just did everything perfectly after that.
Beryl was really great at being bait.
I said, most successful Caitlyn support this season.
Great bait, mate. I rate 8 out of 8.
Shouldn't have played Callista, Carrier. Shouldn't have played Callista.
Beryl's like, he's never going to play a real support ever again. It's going to be
it's just not even, like, it wasn't even played perfectly. Like, it wasn't even that clean, and it was completely saved by Fate.
They're just getting bodied by Ashe Karma, which, I mean, it is Ashe Karma, but even so.
This game is very sad for Kwangdong Freaks, but very comedic in other ways, and The experience really shone through here, though. I really believe that was the difference maker in this final
Especially
game.
in game 1. Game 2 as well. I mean, like, yeah.
True. Game 2 just became such a wash that it's hard to even break it down. But the space will try. I'm sure they have good things to say. Huni's there too, he can carry. It's fine. I really thought that the way this this draft went for DRX was them saying, okay, we're going to play it a little bit better this time. We're going to utilize this pick much stronger. And had they tried to play Akali, I think they might have lost this game because we were like, okay, so the Akali or is it Sylas? Because the Akali can't just walk bottom side and get that stun and win the game. But Fate on Sylas, yeah, he could. And he did, and he should pick up POG.
He should, and he almost definitely will. I mean, if Rascal gets it actually robbed, but...
Change your name to Kira.
What are you going to do? We don't have 11 votes. Yeah, that's just the way it goes. Clean 2-0 from DRX. They get it done in the end. Let's see what the guys on the space have to say about this one.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day as well. And yes, welcome to the space where we break down a 2-0 from DRX. Nothing to see here. Let's start in the draft, gentlemen. Huni, what did you think?
I mean, first of all, still, it was kind of interesting that DRX not hypertizing the Karma pick first because it's still the game 1, the lane phase was not easy. Even game 2, the lane phase was not easy. But I think the Barrel had a great game. Great game. Like,
he had a better game.
He had a better game, yeah. He had a better game for sure. Also, the vision control was like, I guess, more hypertized as a DRX. And that's why, even though the early game was kind of struggling in the bot lane phase, but still, it was like not much natural game that smoothly just going through the middle game. Man, get the win.
And the biggest win for me in the DRX draft was actually giving Fate a pick with agency after seeing how I played in game 1. Fate being invisible was, I think, for many, the biggest criticism of this current DRX roster, combined with Croco not being synced up with the rest of his team at all. And we still had some of the Croco aggression that kind of backfired. The fight around bot Drake comes to mind. But Fate really rewarding his team for trusting him with that R5 Sylas because he completely ran with it. It's both really good into the enemy ultimates that are available, and it allows you to take over control of a game, especially with that Wukong, if you are proactive enough. And we haven't really seen it from DRX up until this point, but in this game, they really played according to the power of that draft, and I thought it was, even though it was against Kwangdong, a very necessary step for them.
No, absolutely. And we get to see it in our first highlight as well. Fate not only had the plays in this highlight in the early game, but was also landing blind chains, things like this. Absolutely fantastically done. But this was a TP to the bottom outer turret. Of course, not unleashed just yet. And look at this timing from Beryl to just stand in the way and get hit by an arrow.
I mean, he make a really risky play at the same time. I guess it's more so like according to playing with around the teammate is, and the Fate, like, it was a crazy thing. The Fate was already used the TP, and he decided not to farm for mid, like 2 lane, like almost 3 lanes, but didn't really matter. He gave to his bot lane like big hole to get able to breathe a lot, and there was like insane the win condition. He made it out.
There also wasn't really an opportunity for Taeyun and Moam to peel off the turret here because all the vision was in the river, so they felt very safe going for what looked like Beryl repeating the performance at the end in game number 1. So really nicely done, and with that snowball, I think Fate actually enabled